All right, Nathan covered most of what I usually talk about when I talk to a group about the judicial races. My name is Brian Staley. I'm running for the 333rd District Court as a civil bench. I have the same jurisdiction Nathan did. This is Harris County wide. A little bit about me personally. I've been practicing civil law for 27 years. Oop, is that okay? I've been practicing civil law for 27 years. I've practiced law all over the state of Texas. I have appeared in trials and contested hearings in, I lost count at about 90 counties, but it's over about 100 counties now. I've handled over 50 appeals. I've won cases in front of the Texas Supreme Court. And so I've had a background in civil matters. My Democratic opponent is a family attorney. His background is family law. I understand he does not have much in the way of civil experience. So what happened, the reason I was running, I ran 2 years ago for County Civil Court at Law number 4. And I wasn't going to run this election, except I was talking to a couple of Republicans that are helping recruit candidates. And she encouraged me to do so, and I started looking a little bit into the backgrounds of some of these judges. And the incumbent in the 333rd was involved in a scandal right after she took the bench, in which she did not recuse herself from cases in which her primary backer and she was employed by had cases in her own court. So instead of recusing herself, she tried to remain the judge for a guy that basically funded her entire campaign, she had financial dealings with, and it worked for. It turned into a bit of a scandal. She got reprimanded by the State Commission on Judicial Conduct, and she lost her matters in front of the Court of Appeals. Wayne Dosofino has some interesting videos about her on his website if you ever want to go look it up. She was such a bad candidate that the Democrats recruited a candidate to run against her in the primary. And that's where I got my opponent from. He barely beat her. The interesting thing about that, though, is even though the Democrats had a contested primary, I had about the same number, maybe a couple of thousand more, in my race. And in my race in the Republican primary, of course, I didn't have an opponent, and there was a lot of drop-off from the top of the ballot by the time you got down to an uncontested race down the 333rd. So I think that's a good sign. So I'm running for the 333rd, and this court, according to the Houston Chronicle, they ran an article during the primary last March, had over 3,000 cases pending in it, one of the worst of all civil courts in Harris County. And I just looked this up recently. I was looking at some appeals out of the court, and there was a case where there was a straightforward auto accident back in 2017. The case was filed in 2019. And it just went to trial this last March, 5 years later. 5 years for a straightforward auto accident case. And that's what we're dealing with down there. Nathan's absolutely correct. And there's an even worse court, the 165th, where they've got even more backlog. The judge there has been reprimanded by the Court of Appeals over 30 times because she just won't rule on anything. She doesn't do anything. So we've got courts that have these backlogs, and the message I want to tell you about is that the civil courts aren't working. Now, we all know about all the dysfunction in the Harris County Commissioner's Court and Harris County government, and it makes the news sometimes, some of the criminal problems in the criminal courts, which if you've been paying attention, you're familiar with. But the problem is just as bad in the civil courts. I had somebody at a meeting I was at just this last week, well, how does this happen? What happened? Why do they have this problem with these backlogs? Well, it started during COVID, but COVID is an excuse. COVID happened over 4 years ago now. And they never seem to have made an attempt or had any emphasis or any desire to resolve the situation that developed back then, and it's still going on. So we've got a real problem. Ask Caroline Kane, how would you feel when you got involved in that lawsuit? You knew it was going to be pending for 5 years before you got the answer as to what happened. What good is it 5 years from now?
apparently that trial becomes expedited.
Yeah,
more important than a murder case.
Yeah, well, at least you got a ruling. At least the judge took some action. Yeah, what's going on down out there is not justice. It's not working. It's not functioning. And if you're talking to some friends that aren't involved politically, you're talking to friends that maybe tend Democrat, you've got to tell them what's going on there with the court system. Things aren't getting done. People aren't finding justice. Imagine if you were in an accident or you were in a problem and you've got bills, you've got expenses, you've got this hanging over your head for 5 years. And actually from the time the auto accident happened, it was 7 years. That's a long time to wait on a fender bender case in which you've got some medical expenses. It's just ridiculous. But we need your help. I've had other groups ask me, like, well, isn't there a committee or a group or an agency of the state government that can do something about it? Well, there's a Commission on Judicial Conduct that will investigate ethics complaints and judicial conduct, but just not doing your job, not showing up for work, not taking care of things doesn't fall within that. The Court of Appeals can correct rulings and errors when they do rule, but they're very limited and there's not much they can do if the judge just isn't taking any action. And that's the situation we're with. It is up to the citizens of Harris County to hold the office holders to account. You're it. If citizens of Harris County want to elect people that aren't going to show up for work, that aren't going to do the job, that aren't going to take care of business, that aren't going to administer justice, then that's what we're going to have. And that's what we do have. So we need your help. We need your help in spreading the word. We don't have money for big ad campaigns. I don't have money to run TV ads. So we've got to go with word of mouth. And that's why I'm trying to go around and talk to you good people and see if you can talk to some people for us, and that would be a big help. Everything else, Nathan talked about the importance of these courts. They're very important if you're in front of them, and it also creates a whole atmosphere of irresponsibility. But I believe in holding people to account. People should be responsible for what they've done in criminal courts as well as in civil courts. And I appreciate your help, I appreciate your support, and it's been a real pleasure to come by and talk to this group this morning. Thank you.
Are you a leader hungry for meaningful discussions and real solutions? Then the Saturday Menudo Club is calling your name. Join us every first Saturday of the month from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. at various restaurants in Houston, where leaders in our community gather over delicious menudo and Mexican food. It's not just about the food, it's about the people who add flavor to the dialogue. We address crucial issues like education, commerce, government waste, family concerns, faith, crime, homelessness, and making a difference. Our gatherings feature renowned speakers who inspire us to take action, and every event is recorded for our YouTube channel and website. Get ready, the Saturday Menudo Club is coming to a restaurant near you. Connect with like-minded leaders, exchange ideas, and work together towards a brighter future. Visit SaturdayMenudoClub.com to join the club today. Remember, it's not just a meal, it's a media experience for leaders. Stay hungry, my friends. 1, 2, 3.
Ya no más!